From two boys to global hero, the Superman story. Learn English with real stories. Close your eyes. Imagine you are 17 years old. You have a big dream. But everyone says, no, your idea is stupid. What do? Do you give up, or do you keep trying? This is not just a story about Superman. This is about dreams. This is about you. Most people don't know this part of the story, but you will. If you are learning English, this is the best way to do it. You will hear simple words. You will learn new words, and you will feel something powerful. In the next 10 minutes, you will discover something amazing. Don't miss any part, because one simple detail changed everything. Two shy boys created the most famous hero in the world, and later, I will show you the moment that changed everything forever. This story will inspire you. This story will teach you English, and this story will show you that dreams can come true. The beginning. Let me tell you about two boys. The first boy was Jerry. His full name was Jerome Siegel. He was born in 1914. He lived in Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is a city in America. The second boy was Joe. His full name was Joseph Schuster. He was born in Canada, but he moved to Cleveland when he was young. Jerry and Joe were best friends. They were both 17 years old. They were both different from other kids. Jerry loved to read books. He read comic books every day. Joe loved to draw pictures. He drew heroes and adventures. Both boys felt lonely. They didn't have many friends at school. Other kids thought they were strange. But Jerry and Joe had something special. They had imagination. They could create new worlds with words and pictures. One night in 1933, something terrible happened. Jerry's father died. Bad men came to his father's store. They wanted money. Jerry's father tried to stop them, and he died. Jerry was very sad. He was angry too. He felt helpless. He wished someone strong could help good people. Someone who could stop bad things from happening. That night, Jerry couldn't sleep. He was thinking and thinking. Then he had an idea, a big idea. What if there was a man with special powers, he thought. A man who could fly, a man who was very strong, a man who always helped good people. The next morning, Jerry called Joe. I have an idea, he said. Let's create a new character, a superhero. Joe listened. He was excited. What does he look like? Joe asked. He wears a blue suit, Jerry said. He has a red cape, and he has a big S on his chest. What's his name? Joe asked. Superman, Jerry said. This was the beginning. Two boys with a simple idea, but this simple idea would change the world. Chapter 1. The Dream Begins. It was 1933. The world was very different then. There was no TV in most homes. People listened to radio shows. Children read comic books for fun. Jerry and Joe lived in Cleveland. It was a working city. Jerry's family had a small store. Joe's family didn't have much money. Life was hard for both families. Jerry was a quiet boy. He wore thick glasses. He loved science fiction stories, stories about space and the future. Joe was shy too, but he was very good at drawing. He could draw anything: people, cars, buildings, heroes. The two boys met at high school. They became friends quickly. They both loved the same things: comics, movies, and stories about heroes. After school, they worked together in Jerry's bedroom. Jerry wrote stories. Joe drew pictures. They made their own comic books by hand. They had big dreams. They wanted to create something new, something that no one had ever seen before. Jerry told Joe about his Superman idea. He comes from another planet, Jerry said. His planet explodes. His parents send him to Earth in a small rocket. What happens then? Joe asked. A nice family finds him, Jerry continued. They take care of him. But he has special powers. He can fly. He is very strong, and he helps people. Joe started drawing. He drew a tall, strong man in a blue suit. The man had black hair and kind eyes. He wore a red cape that moved in the wind. He looks perfect, Jerry said, but he needs a secret identity. What do you mean? Joe asked. He can't always be Superman, Jerry explained. He needs to live a normal life, too, so people don't know who he really is. Joe thought for a moment. What about Clark Kent? He could work at a newspaper. Jerry smiled. Yes, Clark Kent. He wears glasses. He's quiet and shy. But when people need help, he becomes Superman. For hours every day, the boys worked on their idea. Jerry wrote exciting stories. Joe drew action scenes. They created Superman's world piece by piece. But they had a problem. How could they share Superman with the world? If you want to know what happens next, please subscribe to our channel. Because this story will surprise you in ways you can't imagine. What happened next would break their hearts for 5 long years. Chapter 2. Nobody wants Superman. For 5 long years, Jerry and Joe tried to sell their Superman idea. They sent their comics to many companies. They wrote letters. They sent drawings. But the answer was always the same. No. This is too strange, one company said. People don't want to read about a flying man. Comic books are for children, another company said. This is too serious. Nobody will believe this story, others said. Every no hurt Jerry and Joe, but they didn't give up. Can you imagine this feeling? Can you imagine hearing no every day? They kept working. They made Superman stories better. Joe's art became more beautiful. During this time, life was very hard. Joe's family was very poor. Sometimes they couldn't buy paper for drawing. Jerry worked part-time jobs to help his mother pay bills. Money was a big problem. Sometimes they couldn't even buy stamps to mail their comics to companies. Other young artists were getting published. Jerry and Joe saw their classmates become successful. This made them feel worse. Maybe we should stop, Joe said one day. Maybe Superman will never be published. No, Jerry said. I know Superman is special. Someone will see what we see. Someone will say yes. But years passed. Still, no one wanted Superman. Jerry and Joe were 22 years old now. Still no success. Would you keep trying after 5 years of no? Would you believe in your dream when everyone else says it's impossible? Jerry and Joe kept believing. They kept working. They kept sending Superman to companies. They didn't know it yet, but their big moment was about to change everything. Forever. Chapter 3. Everything Changes. It was early 1938. A company called Detective Comics needed a new story. They were making a new magazine called Action Comics. The company was in trouble. They needed content fast. They had other stories planned, but suddenly they needed something different. An editor named Sheldon Mayer was looking through old submissions. These were stories that companies had said no to before. He found Jerry and Joe's Superman comic in the pile. He had seen it before, but this time he stopped. He read it again. This could work, he thought. But his boss, Harry Donenfeld, didn't agree. A man in a costume, he said, flying around? This is crazy. But they needed content. They were running out of time, so they decided to try Superman. There was one problem. Jerry and Joe's original comic was too long. The editors cut it down. They made it only 13 pages. They removed important parts. Jerry and Joe were nervous. Would people understand their character? Would people love Superman like they did? How would you feel in this moment? Your whole dream depends on what happens next. Action Comics #1 was published in June 1938. The cover was amazing. It showed Superman lifting a green car over his head. People were running away in surprise. The comic cost 10 cents. That was normal for comics then. At first, sales were normal. Nothing special happened. Jerry and Joe waited and worried. But then something incredible began. Children started asking for the comic with the flying man. Parents bought Action Comics for their kids. Adults started reading it too. Every month, more people bought Action Comics. Sales went up and up and up. Word spread quickly. Have you seen the man who can fly? People asked. Have you read about Superman? Jerry and Joe couldn't believe it. Their dream was coming true. But this was just the beginning. What happened next was bigger than anyone could imagine. Superman was about to take over the world. Chapter 4: Superman Takes Over the World. By 1940, Superman was everywhere in America. Action Comics was the best-selling comic in the country. Superman got his own comic book series, too. Children loved Superman. They played Superman games in their yards. They tied towels around their necks like capes. They pretended to fly and save people. But adults loved Superman, too. This surprised everyone. Comic books were supposed to be for children only, but Superman was different. During World War II, soldiers read Superman comics. Superman represented hope. He showed the fight between good and evil. He always won. Jerry and Joe watched their creation grow bigger and bigger. Superman appeared in newspaper comic strips. Millions of people read these every day. Companies started making Superman toys. Children could buy Superman games, Superman clothes, and Superman lunchboxes. The character grew too. Superman gained new powers. Now he had X-ray vision. He could see through walls. He had heat vision. He could shoot fire from his eyes. His story became bigger too. Superman came from a planet called Krypton. When he was a baby, his planet exploded. His parents, Jor-El and Lara, sent him to Earth in a rocket to save his life. A kind family in Kansas found baby Superman. They named him Clark Kent. They raised him as their own son. But he was special. He had amazing powers. In 1941, Superman cartoons came to movie theaters. The animation was beautiful and expensive. When people saw Superman fly on the big screen, they cheered. Superman became more than entertainment. He became a symbol. During difficult times, people found comfort in Superman stories. Here was someone who always protected innocent people. Someone who never gave up. Jerry served in the Army during World War II. Even while he was a soldier, he continued writing Superman stories. Superman helped keep American spirits high during the war. By the late 1940s, Superman was known around the world. Children in many countries knew his name. The S symbol became as famous as any company logo. Can you imagine creating something this powerful? Something that touches millions of lives? But with great success came new problems. What should have been the best time of their lives became their biggest struggle. Chapter 5: Success and Sadness. Success changed Jerry and Joe's lives, but not always in good ways. In 1938, they had sold the rights to Superman for only $130. This means they gave away ownership of Superman for very little money. As Superman became worth millions of dollars, Jerry and Joe got very little. This wasn't fair. They created Superman, but other people were making all the money. Jerry and Joe fought in court for many years. They wanted Superman back. They wanted fair payment. The legal fights were long and expensive. They caused a lot of stress. Meanwhile, Superman continued without them. New writers wrote Superman stories. New artists drew Superman comics. In the 1950s, Superman came to television. An actor named George Reeves played Superman. The TV show was very popular. In the 1960s and 1970s, Superman comics talked about social problems. Superman helped with issues like racism and poverty. In 1978, Superman came to movie theaters again. The movie was called Superman, the Movie. An actor named Christopher Reeve played Superman. The movie was a huge hit. The movie's tagline was perfect. "You'll believe a man can fly." And people did believe. The special effects were amazing for that time. Superman kept growing and changing. More movies came. More TV shows came. New actors played Superman on screen. Sadly, Joe Shuster died in 1992. Jerry Siegel died in 1996. Before they died, DC Comics finally gave them recognition. They got some money. Their names appeared on every Superman comic as the creators. But Superman didn't stop. In 2013, a new movie called Man of Steel came out. In 2025, director James Gunn made a new Superman movie. It made $125 million in its first weekend. 87 years after two shy boys created him, Superman is still popular. New generations of children still love him. How is this possible? How does one idea last so long? Jerry and Joe created something that will never die. Chapter 6. Superman lives forever. Today, Superman is not just a character. He is a cultural icon. People around the world know the S symbol. It means hope in any language. Superman inspired a whole genre. Without Superman, there would be no Batman, no Spider-Man, no Wonder Woman, no Marvel movies. Jerry and Joe created the template for every superhero story that came after. When Superman succeeded, it changed the comic book industry forever. Suddenly, everyone wanted to create superheroes. Superman opened the door for thousands of characters that followed. The Superman story teaches us important lessons about life, dreams, and never giving up. Superman also changed how we tell stories. Before Superman, most comic heroes were ordinary people. Superman was the first hero with real superpowers. He could do impossible things. But Superman's real power wasn't his strength. It was his kindness. He always helped people. He always did the right thing. He never used his power for bad reasons. This made Superman different from other strong characters in stories. Superman was strong, but he was also good. This combination was new and powerful. Jerry and Joe didn't just create a character. They created a new way of thinking about heroes. They showed that true heroes help others, even when it's difficult. What we learn from Superman. The Superman story teaches us 5 important lessons. Lesson 1. Believe in your ideas. Even when everyone says no, good ideas have power. Jerry and Joe heard no for 5 years, but they kept believing, and their belief paid off. Lesson 2. Work together. Jerry was good at writing. Joe was good at drawing. Alone, neither could create Superman. Together, they made magic. Find people who are good at different things. Work together. Lesson 3. Never give up. 5 years is a long time to wait. Many people would have given up, but Jerry and Joe kept trying. Persistence is very important for success. Lesson 4. Timing matters. The right idea at the right time can change everything. In 1938, the world needed hope. Superman gave people hope. Your idea might be perfect for right now. Lesson 5. Stories have power. A simple story about hope and justice inspired millions of people for many decades. Good stories can change how people think and feel. Jerry Siegel once said something important. Superman is every boy's idea of a perfect man. In a world that often feels dark and difficult, Superman reminds us that we can choose to be heroes in our own lives. Superman shows us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Clark Kent seems weak and shy, but inside, he is Superman. Maybe you have a Superman inside you too. The boys from Cleveland proved something important. Age doesn't matter. Being rich doesn't matter. What matters is having a good idea and never giving up on it. Today, Superman is still inspiring people. The new James Gunn movie shows that Superman's message is still important. After almost 90 years, people still want to believe in heroes. What about you? What's your big idea? What dream are you afraid to share? What would you create if you knew you couldn't fail? Jerry and Joe were just teenagers when they created Superman. They had no money. They had no connections. They just had imagination and determination. You have the same things they had. You have imagination. You have dreams. The question is, what will you do with them? And remember, you're not just learning English today. You're learning that dreams can come true. You're learning that 2 people working together can change the world. The Superman story started with 2 boys and a simple idea. Where will your story go? Keep dreaming, keep believing, keep creating. Your Superman story starts now. If you like this story, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to English Life Stories, your channel for real stories, powerful lessons, and better English every day. We have many more real stories to help you become a confident English speaker. See you next time. This story is based on documented historical facts about Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, creators of Superman. Some scenes were dramatized for educational and narrative purposes, but maintain fidelity to the real events and characteristics of Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, and the creation of Superman.